it is hard. It is hard because you're not only leaving your family, leaving friends. Like
For people who haven't been in an academy, can you just run us through just like the average day?
I've gone training with the first team now, and then like they've given like the team out, and then I saw myself with like the starting team, like the team that you thought was gonna play. So I was like, bro, like am I starting?
But is there much of a transition between being a scholar and signing that pro? Cool. Tate, so tell me a little bit about your background, where you grew up, and sort of how you got into football.
So originally I'm from like Dartford, Kent. I started football since young. To be fair, I don't really know the age I started in it, but started football from young. I've been around football like academies ever since I was in year probably one or so, like year one.
Mm-hmm.
In year one, I got scouted for like West Ham. Used to train with them for a bit, and then nothing really happened to that. Kept in touch with a coach that used to just do private sessions, etc. And then I've just been around academies ever since. And then a couple of years ago, I signed for Blackpool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you went into West Ham at such an early age, did you realise the magnitude of it? Or was it sort of just go and show them what I can do, have fun?
Yeah, to be fair, all I wanted to do when I was young was play football just for fun. And then obviously when like started training at West Ham, like I knew that I kind of was good at football. And yeah, I always wanted to play football in it when I was young. Like, fun in it, yeah.
So on that, are you looking back on it? Are you happy that you sort of stayed in grassroots level until your later years, because it sort of helped to foster like an enjoyment for the game? Or do you wish that you would have had access to better facilities, better coaching? How do you look back on it?
To be fair, it's 50-50 because obviously you see players going into academy now, and personally for me, I think it's a bit too young. Like people going into academies at like 5, 6. Like obviously you enjoy football, but it's more serious. And then like later on, if you get like dropped, like you get left hurt or whatever. But for me, I think not going into an academy like from young helped me because like I always knew that like all my friends were going to academies, like whatever, getting signed. I always knew that later on in my like years or whatever, I'll get signed. But like, I think not going into academy helped me because like I don't even know, like just training with my dad, like even my dad helped me. That obviously the facilities and the training will help you, except like it will help you. But I don't know. I think sometimes people going into academies too young, and yeah.
But at the same time, was it a little bit like sort of frustrating, being at West Ham training with them and not being offered?
Yeah, but I was so young, so I didn't really think nothing of it. Like obviously, I've been on trial at like many clubs, and obviously some I've been offered, but I didn't take it, and some I haven't been offered. But you just need to get on with it. Like something will always happen. Like you always get success along the route if you keep going and just work hard.
And you told me that you were offered a scholar at Nottingham Forest, and it sort of felt through. Could you tell me a little bit more about that and sort of why it didn't come through?
So basically, so I was on trial at Nottingham playing like a year up. This was like, so I must have been under 16s. I was playing with like the under 18s, like starting. My first game, done one against, I played Charlton, done more. They asked me to go back next week or whatever. Next week, played Leeds. I think it was Leeds, yeah. Scored 2. And then like they just kept asking me to come back every Friday or weekend. And then it got like after like 8 weeks or something, the academy manager, not the academy manager, sorry, head of recruitment, he said like they were gonna have a meeting. So the meeting was supposed to be on like a Monday or something, and then the meeting got cancelled. So the guy rang me, or my mum and dad, and was like, I would like to offer you a scholarship, whatever. And then obviously I was happy in that. Like, obviously Cat 1, or they just moved to Cat 1 in it. But yeah, so obviously I thought I was gonna be a scholar at Nottingham, and then I think 2 or 3 days later they called me back and was like, "Oh, we got some bad news, blah blah blah." And then the academy manager said no because apparently they were gonna buy someone or something. So
Yeah. How gutted
that's,
was that?
but I was so confused because obviously I thought I was gonna be starting now, or whatever. But it just shows you that anything can happen in football.
Yeah, and at that time, I don't know if you know if you'd remember this, right? But you were at Onside Academy for a bit, right? Like it's like a showcase team in London, and I came to one of the trial days, and I remember I played against you in a little like match, and I got popped differently. But but was that a stage like joining the showcase team where you were like, oh, I think I need to get signed now. Like it's come to that time, and I want to be in the academy.
Yeah. Cause when I met, because obviously it's Alex, I met him, and then he said whatever. He said we'll get me a club. Obviously, I played like many clubs that got scouted. Some I didn't go, and obviously because you see like Corona and that, like them times I was like, there was so many, like there was clubs that I could go to, but I come to a couple clubs. Obviously, some I didn't get into, whatever. Some I just didn't go. But then, because the pandemic was so like, it's just you had 2 years that like you couldn't do anything. It was hard to get, like, obviously clubs weren't coming to you, whatever. So I think it was like the time for me to start, like, I think 16. That's where proper football, like, if you get a scholarship, you're, I wouldn't say halfway there, but like many like people our age, whatever, they want to play football, and it starts getting serious. Then it's more like a job than fun. Obviously, it's fun as well, but it's more of a job. So I thought that's the time when I want to be playing football, etc.
So on Corona, then how did you deal with that, not having games and whatnot? How did you keep yourself motivated, and what kind of stuff were you doing on a weekly basis?
Obviously, I said my dad that has a big part of my football, and then so I always train with my dad because he owns a gym anyway, a boxing gym. So that I always used to go down there. Also, I'll just do like obviously runs. It's like obviously Corona, like you wasn't really supposed to be meeting anyone, but I would do like private sessions.
Yeah.
With obviously because I wouldn't be able to stay in my yard for that. For like I can't do that. Like, I have to be out doing something. So I would do that private sessions, even sessions on my own. Yeah, just keeping fit and taking over.
Cool. So on what you were saying before, what would your advice be to someone who's 15, 16, 17, never been in an academy? And I know a lot of kids think that once you're at that age, the dream's over, like you're not going to get signed. What would your advice be to people like that?
Or look at players. Obviously, it's hard. Like you see Vardy, like players like that. You can be 20, you can be 15. You still always have a chance. Like even when you're playing a match and you think it's nothing, like always give it work your hardest, give it your all, because you never know who could be watching, and that one game could make you get into an academy like that. Obviously, you need to keep working hard, like do extra, like do things that other people wouldn't be doing. So if you have a game on a Saturday, maybe go for like a run or like a little cool down on a Sunday or a gym session. Always do more than your opponent or people in your position.
So how did Blackpool come about?
So obviously with Onside, I think there was like a tournament. We played them like a couple of weeks before this tournament, and I didn't really play well in that game. But there was a tournament with like obviously other showcases and that, and then I think I played well in that tournament, and then the guy was like, "Oh, I want you," and I think there was like 4 others that to come down for like a trial game and then like a training session, and then I've gone and played that game. I played well, and then after that game, they just offered me a scholarship there, and then obviously I've been there ever since.
Yeah, And what was it
Yeah.
about Blackpool that made you put pen to paper? Like you said, you've been offered before and turned it down for whatever reason. What was so attractive about Blackpool?
When I went to Blackpool, I felt like welcome. Like I felt that they had like they have a plan where they want to be, and even like from coming here, I've met like so many new people. The coaches when I was there, they'll give me positive things. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think they know what they're doing, and like I don't regret nothing because ever since I've been there, I've met new people, that good people that I always like remember, and people that have helped me uh, achieve what I've achieved so far.
You say everyone was welcoming, but initially it must have been tough, moving away from home at 16. What was that like initially?
Um, at first, because obviously when I think sometimes you just want to get away from your like family. Like people think that, or like if they could move, they'll move, blah blah blah. But when I got there, I was missing home. Like man, obviously it's not like I can go home every week. It's like it's a good 4 hour, 5 hour trip. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you see other people going home on the weekends, and you're like, oh, I wish I could live closer, blah blah blah. But it's about like adapting. Like moving away from home was, I think, it's made me become more independent. But obviously, it is hard. It is hard because you're not only leaving your family, leaving friends. Like yeah, like it's hard, but you get used to it. I'm used to it now, obviously, because I've been here for like a year and a bit. So, but yeah, it was hard at the start.
Cool. And what were the main differences that you noticed straight away stepping into the academy environment?
Obviously, you got different cats, like obviously cat one, cat two, and cat three.
Mm-hmm.
With Blackpool, because they're cat three, like, and it's up north in it, so the people here, they're like, it's more physical. Like they don't really like. Obviously, they're good at football, but
Yeah.
they're more. It's more like nitty gritty. Even the pitches and that, like they're not, obviously because it's cat free. They're not always going to be the best, so it's hard to play football on some of the pitches. But yeah, everyone in the league, even if they're not a good football team, they all work hard and like they all run. Like it's like yeah, it's more like a getting. You can tell the difference because it's become more physical and like a men's game as such. Obviously, it's not like senior football, like, but you can tell that it's getting like, on the stages at that level.
Yeah. And for people who haven't been in academy, can you just run us through just like the average day?
So obviously it depends on the day, but so I'll wake up like I'll say 8ish, maybe 7, depending on the day. Get in, have a gym session. Then we'll go from a gym session straight to training for like probably an hour and a half maybe. And then we'll come back, have lunch, whatever, chill for a bit. And then we'll have another session, which is like an hour and a half. But obviously, because now I'm on loan,
Yeah.
now I'll have the gym in the morning with a session at an hour and a half. And then I'll have lunch, go home, chill till like, I'll leave it like 5, half 5. And then obviously to get there at like 7. And then I'll train from 7 till half 8. And then, yeah, just same every day basically. But on a Wednesday we have college, and then Monday we have half day college and then training.
Yeah. So I was actually going to ask about that. Do you feel like at academies, you're still getting enough support on the educational side of things? So if the worst happens, you have something to fall back on.
Yeah. Obviously, like I said, we have college on a Monday for half a day, and then a Wednesday. But with our college, our tutors are really good. Like they're always on us to like if we need help. Like obviously, we don't only have the tutors, we have like our coaches and that, because most of the stuff that we learn is about our football, and like so we have like our S&C coach, physio, etc. to help us with our work. And obviously, if we don't do our work, it affects our football because we'll have to finish it during training times or miss a game or whatever. So we're really on top of our work. So, but yeah, it's good. The word that we're there.
Yeah. And back to the football. I know you guys are doing really well in the FA Youth Cup this year. Could you just explain what that competition is, firstly, for anyone that might not know? And secondly, why do you think that, well, you've reached the 5th round now, why do you think that everything's sort of clicking into place?
So basically, the FA Youth Cup is a cup full of all the teams in, I think, obviously all semi-pro and professional teams. Obviously, it's like a really big competition that allows players to put themselves on a big platform. But yeah, the team's really, because with our team, like I would say, there's not anyone that doesn't get along with each other. Like we're all friends and have a laugh, or whatever. So I think the bond with the team like helps us to perform on the pitch, because obviously with training, like when we're training together, we know like what people play like what we want to do. And obviously the coaches, they like set out plans and stuff for us, to like, we have like a things that we want to do, and obviously the analysis and that, looking over teams. But yeah, a lot of us have played with each other for like a year and a half now, so I think that's helped us as well, like understanding how each other play. But obviously we're underdogs as well, so yeah, we've been performing well.
Yeah, and as you say, yeah, you've been performing well at youth level. But I know last summer you made your first team debut against Carlisle, was it? And you went on to play against Burnley as well. What was the feeling like there, and what things did you have to sort of alter in your game to step into that senior environment?
So obviously I've gone training with the first team now, and then like they've given like the team out, and then I saw myself with like that the starting team, like the team that you thought was gonna play. So I was like, bro, like am I starting? Like, because obviously there was a couple of injuries and Corona and such, and I was like I need to be. Then I got told that I was starting, and then I was nervous, yeah, but I was so excited that like I was trying to put the nerves to the side. But when I got into the pitch, I was like, because obviously there was a crowd in that, innit? But
yeah,
when you get onto the pitch, you don't really like, the crowd just vanishes. Like you just focus on your football. But obviously, I think with the football with first team, it's like much quicker like tempo compared to like youth football and stuff. And then when I got told I was playing against Burnley, I was nervous at that one. But yeah, you can tell that obviously Burnley aren't the best in the Premier League, but you can tell that the players, like you can tell the difference between the championships, like players and like Burnley, like they were proper. Like
it was
so cool.
Was it like a pre-season friendly?
Yeah.
But were they
Pre-season.
still putting out like decent names, you know?
Yeah. They put like, there was like Tarkowski, Westwood, Cork. They put out a strong team, to be fair. But the tempo of the game, like everything was just like perfect. Like the touches, everything.
Yeah. And on the back of that, at the start of this month, you signed your first pro contract. What was that feeling like?
I was over the moon. It was like it was New Year, so obviously it's a good start to New Year's. When I got told that I was
not bad.
over the moon. Yeah, everything that I've been like working for, like it's starting to come along and like come together. But yeah, I was over the moon. My family and friends were so excited as well. So yeah.
Yeah, and I know you've gone on loan, but is there anything you picked up? Like, I know you're still playing with the 18s on like sort of a day-to-day basis, but is there much of a transition between being a scholar and signing that pro?
No.
Not really.
No.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Apart from the money.
Yeah, even the money. Yeah, obviously the money bumps up, whatever, but not. I wouldn't say there's a change. Like it still feels the same to me.
So then, moving on to your loan, joining Radcliffe on a 28-day loan. Why, and sort of how did that discussion come about?
So obviously, like the coaches were talking about it like with each other, and then they said that I'm growing out of youth football, like I'm ready for senior football. So obviously it's a good start to like be on the road to the first team, and then obviously if I do well in this league, keep progressing league. So like I think the reason why I went on loan like was for the senior football, like the physicality and like because with like youth football, it's about developing, but with senior football, like in the like men's football, they want to win. Like it's a league, so if they don't win, they feel like they didn't do good or whatever. So, but yes, it's a different experience. Like it's a big change.
Yeah.
With the football.
Do you think it's benefited you? Because I've talked to a few people that have said that were in academies when they were younger and going out on loan to non-league clubs, they sort of found it a bit frustrating how you can't, obviously it's not as good of a level as of football, but it's sort of a necessary thing to develop you as a player.
Yeah, with me, obviously it's a big change. Like I think it's like obviously I've only played like a couple games, but it's already helped me a lot, like with my physicality side of it and trying to play quicker, because that like when you have a touch that on you, because obviously like it's a men's game, like they're physical and that. But yeah, I think it's helped me a lot, to be fair. But I'm just trying to keep playing, and then if I do well at this stage, I get to move on, and then anything can happen.
Are you going to be back at Blackpool for the Newcastle game?
So when I got told that I was like signing my pro, I either had the option to wait and like play the Youth Cup game and not go on loan, or like just go on loan. But when you turn pro, you're apparently they got called and said that like obviously I won't be allowed to play the Youth Cup game because obviously I just signed it and I've gone on loan. But I think that they're trying to wait for like my loan to expire so that like me and a couple others can play.
Yeah. So
not 100%. I'm gonna play it.
Okay.
But
so it was sort of, you had that in the back of the mind, but it's sort of a sacrifice for the longer term, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So last two, what are your ambitions for this year? Like as you say, you got off to a decent start signing a pro. So
yeah.
What's your ambitions?
So I'm trying to obviously do well on loan first, and then hopefully I can go back to Blackpool and try to train permanently or more regularly with the first team, so that I'm in and around the first team, and then hopefully get like 1 or 2 appearances towards the latter end of the season, depending on where they are in the league or whatever. But yeah, I'm just trying to make a like a step so people know my name, if you get what I mean. Like even being on the bench, obviously I've been involved with the first team like a week ago in the FA Cup. In the FA Cup I was named like 21st man or 19th man or whatever, but I want to at least be on the bench, like. But I want to make an appearance this year.
Cool.
100%.
Yeah, and you mentioned Tarkowski. Who's the best player you played with and against?
I'll probably say Westwood for Burnley, and with I don't even know. It's got to be. That's a hard question. I don't even know.
Someone in the first team, maybe.
Yeah, I'll be in the first team, but I'm trying to think of a player.
Well, I don't know a Blackpool player, so
I would say probably like Gary Medina or Keshi Anderson, something like that. I would say one of them two.
Right, I'll have to look them up.
Yeah, they're good, very good.
Cool, bro. So